Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey everybody, how you doing? And welcome to the show. I hope everybody's doing great. Now listen, my next guest, I'm going to be honest with you. I really didn't know who she was. I'm on social media and then something about her social media caught my eye. So I said, wait a minute, what is she doing? And then I seen what she's up to and I was like, wow, I got to get her on my show. So if you're looking to know who this is, my special guest, a strong Black woman, you got to stay tuned. Coming up next, let's go. Now, without further ado, please welcome to the show, Trina L. Martin. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Charles. Thank you for having me.
All right. So I was kind of geeking on you in the intro because when I told everybody, I didn't really know who you were until I saw your post and stuff, and I was amazed. So I have to say to you, I was in awe of all the stuff you've done, the career you've had, and talking to you now about some of the stuff you're doing. I was like, okay, I got to get you on my show. So let's start with some background because I don't want to tell them exactly your career yet and everything, why I was amazed on the stuff you did in the career. So let's tell them about the young Trina. Where are you born? Where are you from? Where you born and raised?
Well, thank you for that intro. I am Trina L. Martin, and I was born and raised in Chicago, the inner city of Chicago. I am the youngest of 4 children, and you talk about, you see me on social media and some of the things I've done, and it hasn't always been that way. I was the youngest of 4. My mother was very abusive to me verbally, which actually broke me down, destroyed my self-esteem and my confidence. And because of that, I ended up being a type A person, type A, driven to succeed, because my goal was to get away from my mother, to get away from Chicago, and to do things that I had never had modeled for me and to succeed. So that led me on a journey of being the first person in my family to go to college. So I'm kind of like a pioneer because I've had nieces to go to college since then.
Nice.
Led me to a 2-decade career in IT, 30 years in the military, and now I am owner of my own technology company. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, listen, that's not a nutshell. That's a big nut. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I'm like looking at your stuff, and you're like, yeah, you're driven, like really driven. Because the part that caught my eye is, let's talk about the military. Okay, how many years?
30. I am newly retired as of 1 November, and I did 30 years.
And I'm like, that's amazing. You know, I mean, some people get in a couple of years, they get out, and you did a full. Is that a full term?
Well, 20, you get retirement at 20. I did 30.
You so 20, they're like, oh, you can retire. You're like, the first 20 was easy. Let's go for another 10.
It didn't happen that way. It was never my plan. I ended up joining the military after completing my first year of college because it was self-financed. I knew that I needed a way to pay for my education so that I could keep going. So I enlisted in the Army, and I did 3 years in the Army, and this was during Desert Storm and everything. And I had a job that was chemicals, NBC. So they call it CBRN now, but nuclear biological chemicals. And that's what I was doing. And luckily, at the last minute, I didn't have to go to Desert Storm. So I ended up transferring services. So I went over to the Navy. And my whole thing was, I just want to pay for college. So my thing was 4 years, I'm going to do this and get out. Well, once I got my degree, I realized, I said, I can become an officer. I can get a commission and become an officer and actually impact people. And the things that I saw that I didn't like along the way, I was like, I could change that. So I was enlisted for 14 years. After my 14th year, I ended up getting my commission, becoming an officer, and 16 more years later, here I am.
So what's the ranking like? Because I don't know anything about it. So how does it work? The ranking, what was your role? What did you have to do?
So I retired as a lieutenant commander, which is an 04, which if most people are familiar with Army rank. So that would be a major in the Army.
Okay.
And I am a intel officer. So that's what I did. And a lot of things I can't talk about, but
It's okay. I don't
yeah,
want
so
somebody tapping my phone. I don't want.
yeah, we don't want to put you at risk.
No. So that is great. So you've probably seen things and traveled and done anything. So what was the one experience that you'd say that you were wowed about by being in that role, in that position?
Oh man. Yeah, I've traveled the world, and I think, well, not think, but some of my best time, because I was deployed with NATO. I was part of a NATO unit, and that experience was actually very enjoyable for me because I got to work with other navies of different countries of our foreign partners, and I've met some people and learned some things, and I ended up in places where I never thought that I would be, like Latvia or Lithuania. So those are places that I've been stationed in. I'm just really thankful. I was afforded a career that I didn't think, especially being a little girl, a little shy girl from the inner city of Chicago. Who would ever thought that I would be in Latvia? So that's been a great memory of mine.
So let's talk about that, because you don't look like a shy girl no more. So when did you pop out of your shell?
You know, the military actually brought that out of me because, as I said, my mother being verbally abusive, it really destroyed me, my confidence, my self esteem. So I was very shy. But getting in the military, of course, they break you down to build you back up. And I learned as I was going through the ranks that I couldn't be this shy person, especially as an officer, right? You have to be confident, know what you're talking about. If you're going to lead people, you can't be going, well, I think you should do this, or you gotta, you gotta stand firm and stand up, and you gotta be the kind of person that someone looks to and say, okay, if this officer is telling me to, go, in that foxhole, I
You,
can do that.
yeah, you can do that, right?
Right.
So then, speaking of that, how was the training?
It's,
What
it's,
is it? The movie style, like what they see on the movies? Like, we can't see your arms right now, but you got some guns on you. Like, what's going on?
it's, you got to be fit. You have to be fit. And, I'm by no means, I'm in shape, but I'm not, the pillar of physical fitness. Some people are, some people aren't. You go through, like I went through basic training as an enlisted person. So I came in at the bottom. I went to OCS. So if you think about the movie Officer and a Gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
I did that. I actually went to that exact same base where that movie was filmed.
Okay.
And there's standards. So, of course, with the military, you have to be ready to fight, right? You have to be ready to fight, ready to train. So we do have physical fitness standards that we have to adhere to. So every 6 months, we're tested to make sure that we are in shape and we can, body wise, as far as body percentage and composition, weight, and as far as the physical things that you need to do to stay ready.
Okay. So then, food wise, because I always
Mhm.
see, like, they're you go with the tray, they slop this thing on your plate. Is it really like that?
In some places there are, some places it's a lot better. I was deployed for 9/11, and I was in a place where the food wasn't that bad, but of course things have gotten better. So I compared to basic training in 1990 when I got in, and food was in. And of course, if you're out in the field or out in the desert, you're going to get MREs. You're not going to get the best of foods.
Can get
Some places you are,
Yeah.
you're going to get some good food. So it just depends on where you are. So I've had the whole gamut. I've had the good living, I had the not so good, and I had the kind of like, oh my goodness, I'd rather go eat a leaf off a tree than to eat this food. So it just all depends.
So would you say what do you call it?
MREs?
Yeah. What was it?
Yes, yes. So MRE stands for meal ready to eat. And they come in this,
Okay. Is
yeah,
it in that little silver package kind of thing?
it comes in a little pouch. They're different. They're brown, green, silver. So mostly they're dried foods or packaged. So some of the things you have to add water to do it. And some, it's not preferred, but when you're, in the middle of a desert or somewhere and you have to have something to eat, it's fine. But if you ask any service member, they'll tell you that, yeah, MREs are not something that we actually ask for. But when you're in a situation, sometimes that's all you can get.
So here's the question. The first meal that you came out and you're like, I got to get this, like the real meal. What'd you do? Like, because you go on leave, right? You go on
Yeah.
leave. What was that? What was the first meal you got to get on? You said,
Oh,
I need this.
I think when I was in basic training, no, after basic training. So when I did my schooling and they gave us our first pass to go out. And at the time, like I said, this is 1990, 1991. I think I went to like a Shoney's or something.
Okay.
If anybody remembers that, I'm telling how old I am. But I was like, oh, Shoney's, oh, great. So if you think about Sizzlers, Shoney's, Ryan, any of those buffet style places, that's where I went to. And that was great. Now, me being the age I am and the experience I've had, I would never go to a Shoney's to eat. But at that time, that was great living for me.
So then tell me about this person.
Oh, that person, that is Lieutenant Commander Trina Martin. That is me. Actually, I think a year or two before retirement. And I had a great career. I think you saw the post I put out. And when I did it, I was feeling some kind of way. I put the post out with that photo and with a photo of my retirement certificate. And I was like, well, what do I want to say? And I know a lot of people, you're on social media, a lot of people will do the rah, rah, rah. This is great. This is great. And I didn't want to do that because that's not really how I felt. I wanted to really come from the heart, but I didn't want to be this fake, oh, my life is great. So basically what I did was I put the post out and I said, I'm retiring after 30 years. I've had good leadership. I had board leadership. I wasn't always recognized or awarded for a job well done, but I kept doing it because I wanted to impact and change. And that's how I felt. 30 years is almost half my life. So I was kind of feeling some kind of way when I retired, but yet I was glad to retire because it was time for me to move on to the next, chapter in my life and do some things. But I wanted people to know that it's not always rah, rah, rah. And I made sacrifices. Like you and I were talking before we went on the air. I have 2 teenagers and I've missed a ton of their birthdays. I missed Mother's Day. I was deployed for 2 years. So the informative years, I was not there. So there was a lot of things that go on with the military that a lot of people are not really cognizant of. And it's funny because that post I put out, I've had like over 1 million something views. And I've had people that responded, and I was trying to respond to everybody because I wanted, I don't want to post and go. So I wanted to actually interact with people. Right. And then it got to a point where I was like, oh my goodness, I can't. But I tried to respond to as many people as I can, especially people who wrote things. And there were so many people who said so many beautiful things. I had people saying, hey, my son or daughter is going into the military, or I have someone, one lady I remember in particular, she was saying how her son is in the military, and it really touched her when I said how I miss Mother's Days and things like that. And she said, wow, you really put this in perspective for me. She said, because I didn't see it from your side of the table. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, as a mother, she's looking at her child is gone and whatever, but she, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the service member as well. We're missing that just as like you are, and we're not happy about it. So I had some very, very touching people to respond to me and just say some amazing things. So I'm really glad I put it out. And I had a couple of service members who actually said, wow, that's the truth. What you said, that's exactly how it is. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be real. And people who know me know I'm a real person. I'm not smoke and mirrors. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. What you see is what you get. And I'm going to be truthful with you.
And I think, to be honest with you, I think that's why you're on my show right now.
Thank you.
Host, and I was like, oh, okay, she making this real, and 30 years, that's great, and she's not shooting. I'm like, this is okay. She gotta be on my show. She got because not only that, after I invited you in my form, then I kept reading all the other stuff you're doing, and I'm like, oh, this lady's on fire. She ain't letting nothing stop her. Okay, she's going to that next level. Because a lot of people would have retired and went, I don't have to do anything. I could sit back, relax, and just relax. Not you, though. You were at next chapter. Here we go. So let's talk about the next chapter. But before we do that, I got some game for you. It's called Quick Fire. You ready?
Okay.
All right. So I ask you some simple questions, and you just, tell me the first thing that comes to your head, and you can tell me like a 1-minute story why you chose that.
Okay.
But quick fire answers, and then we're going to dive into part 2 of your life.
Okay.
Right, here we go. Music song that you would play before going out.
Erotic City.
Erratic City. Song that you play before you go on stage.
I'm Coming Out.
Okay. Favorite food.
Ooh. I'm a dessert person, so I like anything cookies.
Anything cookies. All right. Sports.
Track.
Favorite book.
My book, From a Mess to Amazing.
My girl. If you could pick one superhero, what would it be?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. What's your hidden talent?
Oh, my hidden talent is the fact that I am a techie. I like to break things down and reverse engineer them in my head so that I understand them and know how to do them better.
All right. So last question. Barack Obama saw your post. He says, "Oh, I'm coming over to your house for dinner." What are you throwing down?
Ooh, Barack, yeah, please come. Bring Michelle. What am I throwing down? So since they're both from Chicago, I would probably do pork chops, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, and cornbread.
All right. He's not coming, but I am now. All right. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to dive into part 2 of all the great things you're doing. Stay tuned. CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top. And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online, go to cmjent.com.
Yeah.
Yes, we're back live with my special guest. And then now I changed the background because now we're going into the second Trina. All right. This is the second Trina, the new Trina. If you want to know about the first one, go back and watch. All right. So the second Trina now is all about your business. Yes. Talk about your business. Let's talk about why you retired, but then you dove into this.
So my business is communication technology, secure communication technologies. And I work with small and medium-sized businesses to help them use secure communication technology solutions to stay connected to their clients, customers, and employees. And I did that because of the day and age that we're living in today, COVID. COVID kind of put a lot of people in places that they never thought that they would be. The working from home, trying to do like what we're doing now, live streaming, Zoom, and people just didn't know what to do. And whether people want to believe it or not, this is our new normal. This is how we're going forward. And I decided to take my tech years, the 20 plus years I had in technology, and get back into it and say, okay, I want to help people do this. But you just can't only do it. You have to do it securely because as we know, there's hackers out there, people stealing information. So if you're a business and you're communicating virtually or having these meetings, you have to do it and you have to do it securely. And that's where I want to help people and their business grow and integrate their operations, because not only that, you have people who they get solutions that they probably don't need and don't use. So I want to be that person to tell them, okay, you don't need that, but you need this. So you don't have to buy a Cadillac if you just need the Chevy of technology solutions.
Yeah, and I do like that you mentioned that, because we talked about technology before the show starts, and if you look, you can get wowed real quick about all the technology. You get sucked in real quick. So I'm glad that you mentioned that you know, someone like you can say, wait a minute, pump the brakes,
Mm-hmm.
What do you really need? Okay, yeah, you don't have to get the full 100. Okay, you don't need all the leather bells and whistles. This would work with you just fine. And I think a lot of people need someone like you to tell them that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. But then let's dive into how you help them from start to finish. So let's bring up your website. There we go.
Yes.
So talk about your site and talk about what you do and how your site's been helping and helping customers.
Well, okay, so you brought up my website. Thank you very much. So I also, in addition to doing the communication technology, I'm a speaker. I also do a podcast. So I have a podcast, which you have that page up right now. And the podcast is called Trina Talk. And it's inspiration and motivation because I was at a place a few years ago that I was kind of in a dark place. And I've always loved podcasts, but I really wanted something that really helped me and inspire me to get to the next level. And there's different things out there, and you have to, find this one, find that one. And I wanted this to be a place where you could come, whether you were looking for personal inspiration or professional. So I have business leaders, entrepreneurs, everyone, ordinary people who've done extraordinary things. I have them on my show to basically talk about their journey and to inspire other people. And I've had some amazing guests, and I think, 109, 110 episodes in. And I really enjoy it because people who are been in spaces, whether it's marketing, CEOs, entrepreneurs, just people out there doing some amazing things. I've had them on the show, and I've been blessed, and people who have listened to the show have been blessed as well. So I'm very happy with that.
All right. And then you mentioned about your speaking engagements.
Yes. So I speak, of course, we're in COVID, so not doing any live speaking, but I speak virtually. So on leadership, goal setting, technology. A lot of people ask when I put that post out, do I do any coaching, leadership? And I do. And that's one of the services that I offer is leadership coaching. So if you're looking for leadership coaching, you can go to my website and fill out an inquiry form, and we could do that. I do training, so virtual training about technology or things that are in the technology realm, or if you just, like I said, want leadership, or now doing the women in tech and women of color in tech. I speak on that as well. And if I may, since I brought that up, I am doing a Girls of Color in Technology Tech Saturdays that I'm starting in December. So what I'm looking for Black and Latina girls who are 13 years old and older who want to pursue careers in technology. And what I'm doing is, this is just my way of giving back and doing what I love. I want to mentor these girls and show them the careers and the path. And it's totally free. I'm not charging anything. It's 6 weeks, an hour every Saturday to just sit with these girls and talk with them and say, okay, you want to get into technology. Here are some of the fields you can get into technology. Here are some of the certification. Here's some of the things, just things that, girls, some of the girls of color don't know. They know they want to do it, but by it being a male dominated space, a white male dominated space, is intimidating. So I want to take that intimidation out and be that face, since I did it for so long, and encourage these girls to do that.
Yeah, and I love that you're going that level, because you're right. Technology, you would think when you see tech and you see a woman come around the corner, you're like, okay, and it shouldn't be okay. Like
Right.
you're shocked. You should be just like, oh yeah, there she is. Okay, come on over here. Here's my computer. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I belong to this program, and I call them when my computer goes down. Women pick up the phone, help me with my computer, and it's like nothing. And that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? We need more people in that industry to show them, hey, technology is technology. It doesn't make a difference who you are, what color you are, or what nationality or sex you are. So I'm glad that you're doing that. So please tell everybody one more time when the program starts.
It starts December 5th, and the link to the application, because I am only accepting 30 girls, it's goctech.trinalmartin.com. So if you have a daughter, granddaughter, or someone, like I said, 13 years of age or older, a Black or Latina girl who wants to get into tech, go there, fill out that application, And then I will take it from there and we'll go through and see who's approved and who's not. But it's free. I'm not charging anything because this is my way of giving back. And I'm doing what I wish someone had done for me. And that's what I love doing.
All right. And let's talk about what you're doing about giving back. Let's talk about your book. Because I think when someone writes a book, that's part of you giving back to the world, something you're leaving, something, a legacy. Talk about your book. What's your book about?
My book is called From a Mess to Amazing, 7 Steps to Create the Life You Deserve. And basically it's half memoir, half self-help, you can say. And basically I was very vulnerable in this book. And I talk about the things that I've been through my life that kind of made me think that, oh, I've made so many mistakes in my life or, made some poor choices, so I can't go on. And that's why I call it From a Mess to Amazing, because I knew if I were feeling that way, that there are other people out there. And I just want people to know that whatever your past is, whatever you've been through, that does not define or dictate what your future is. You can change that around. So in the book, I talk about, changing your mindset, evaluating yourself, personal development, networking, and just committing to the change, because those are some key things that I found out as I was going through my life that I really needed to work on to continue to progress. And, I know now everybody's talking about mindset, but mindset is very critical, especially if you want to change things, because a lot of times we tell ourselves things that, are harsh, things that we wouldn't say to someone else. We beat ourselves up, for it. And I was doing the same thing. I was going, well, gosh, I made this mistake here. I made that mistake there. My childhood upbringing played a part in a lot of things that I had to sit down and really evaluate myself and realize where I was going wrong on different things. Then I had to forgive myself. I had to work on personal development, get coaching, things of that nature. So I talk about all these things, but I make it relatable, because I'm not just saying, okay, I'm on this mountaintop and I'm telling you, you should do this, this, and this. I'm saying, no, here's what I've done. Here's where I was. And these are the things that I've done to help myself get to the next level. And this is what I'm recommending for you.
Okay. So it's that time. It's called Pick 3. So we play this game. It's called Pick 3. You pick 3 numbers between 1 and 10. And those are the questions I ask you. Go ahead.
Oh, goodness. Do I pick 3 all at one time or?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 10.
Okay.
6.
I've been doing this for so long and everybody picks 3. Like I know 3 off my head. Right? All right. Here is question number 3. What advice would you give someone pursuing your career?
I would give them the advice of telling them to learn as much as you can. The industry, which is the tech industry, is always changing. It's changing every day. So you have to stay ahead of the game. So learning as much as you can, whether it's reading journals, taking classes, but just make sure that you're knowledgeable with what's going on at the current stage.
Okay. Now, number 10, I think is too easy for you because it says, if you had a signature question, since you have a podcast, what is your signature question?
The question that I like to ask, because I kind of do like you, I have 10 questions at the end that I ask all my guests. But the one that I really like asking people is, what is your definition of success?
And what's your answer?
My definitions of success is peace of mind, and freedom. Freedom to do what I want, when I want, with my business, with my family, with my children. But freedom and peace kind of go hand in hand. And peace of mind is very important, because I think if you have the peace of mind, you can build the wealth and the things that go along with it. So peace of mind and freedom is my definition of success.
All right. And the last question is, what is the myth about your industry that you want to, stomp out? What's the myth?
That's what I said, that it's a man's world, that it's a man's industry, and that it's a white male industry. So I love the movie Hidden Figures that came out with the Black women who were in tech, who did some things. And that's what I want to do. I want to stomp that out. I want to see more women of color in these high tech careers, so that when you walk into a place, you're not going, oh, okay, where's Jim, when you have somebody sitting in front of you that's a female of color.
Gotcha. All right. So let's put this out there. On December the 5th, 2020, you're looking for teenage girls age 13 and older for a tech course. It's absolutely free. All right. You're giving back. You're you're looking for them. They can register on your platform. So let me just put there you go, your website out there. Mm-hmm. And if you want to email her, there it is. I'll leave it up there for a second or two because she wants to give back. And I think everybody wants to do that right now. And it's an absolutely great thing that you're doing, is giving back. So there it is. But if you think, I don't know if this is for me, I don't know, something I love to do, then give her a quick call. 346 355 5064. That's 355 5064. And I mean a quick call, people. But just ask. Because here's the funny thing. A lot of people are like, I don't know if it's for me. How do you know it's for you if you don't call her or email her and say, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to do? Or just ask her a question. She's there to answer your question. So give her a call, get involved, do what you got to do. All right. It's come to that time, my friend. But before we go, we have this thing on here. It's called the Queen Wave. This is your opportunity to do the Queen Wave and shout out anybody you want to shout out. This is your opportunity to shout out all your fans, all the people around the world.
Hey, my Queen Wave. Thank you to my children. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And just everyone in general. Stay safe.
Listen, you've been an awesome guest, and I'm so proud. I'll be honest with you. We just met, but you're doing great things. So keep up the great work. And I don't usually do this, but because you're a podcaster like me, sign us out. I'm giving you the last word on my show.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, this is Trina L. Martin, and I hope you have a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. Don't let 2020 get you down, because there's better coming.
There you go. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that this podcast is meant for educational and informational purposes only and is in no way a replacement for legal or medical advice. The opinions contained within are solely those of the interviewers and interviewees and should be received as so.